Clint Eastwood, born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31st, 1930, in San Francisco, California, is one of the most enduring figures in American cinema. Over 7 decades, he has built a legacy as an actor, director, and producer, shaping the landscape of Hollywood with a distinct style and quiet authority. His life and career are often seen as a reflection of his signature screen persona, stoic, rugged, and unflinching. But behind the myth lies a complex personal story marked by both triumph and turmoil. As Eastwood aged, he became increasingly introspective, and the public began to witness a man who was willing to confront his past. At 95, he finally broke his long-held silence, admitting a painful truth about one of his most significant relationships. This confession would cast new light on a chapter of his life long obscured by fame and secrecy. Early life, from ordinary beginnings to iconic destiny, Eastwood's early years were surprisingly ordinary. He grew up in a middle-class household and was described as quiet and introspective, rarely standing out in school. He didn't immediately display the charisma or ambition that would later define his career. Instead, he worked a series of unremarkable jobs and even served briefly in the U.S. Army, an experience that instilled discipline and resilience. These traits would later become central to his public persona: self-reliant, calm under pressure, and emotionally restrained. Eastwood didn't discover his passion for performance until later in life, but once he did, it became the foundation of his legendary career. He would go on to transform the Western genre and create characters that remain iconic, proving that his modest beginnings were merely the prelude to an extraordinary destiny. Rise to fame, the spaghetti Western revolution. Eastwood's rise to fame began in the 1960s with Sergio Leone's groundbreaking Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964, For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. These films redefined the Western genre and introduced Eastwood's iconic man-with-no-name persona. The character's quiet strength, calculated intelligence, and minimal dialogue captivated audiences worldwide. Instead of relying on flamboyant heroics, Eastwood conveyed complex emotion through subtle facial expressions and body language. The trilogy's gritty realism and moral ambiguity made it a modern reinvention of the Western, blending style with raw intensity. This period marked the birth of Eastwood as a cultural icon, an actor whose screen presence could speak louder than words. The impact of these films echoed through generations, establishing Eastwood as the definitive face of a new kind of cinematic hero, Dirty Harry, a controversial icon. After conquering the Western genre, Eastwood transitioned into American cinema with the 1971 film Dirty Harry. His portrayal of Inspector Harry Callahan introduced a character who blurred the lines between justice and obsession. Callahan was a hard-edged cop who often defied authority to achieve his goals, a role that sparked controversy and debate. Some viewed him as a symbol of vigilante justice, while others saw him as a man confronting a chaotic world. Regardless of interpretation, Eastwood's performance solidified his ability to embody morally complex characters. Dirty Harry became a defining moment in Eastwood's career, proving that he could dominate not just Western landscapes, but urban dramas as well. It also reinforced his public persona, a man who refused to compromise, who stood firm against the forces of chaos, and who represented a deeply American form of stubborn resilience. A director emerges, Unforgiven and The Art of Redemption. Eastwood's transition to directing revealed a new depth to his storytelling. With films like Unforgiven, 1992, $1 Million Baby, 2004, and Gran Torino, 2008, he shifted from acting icon to visionary filmmaker. These films explored themes of redemption, justice, mortality, and the human condition, often focusing on flawed characters seeking closure. Unforgiven, in particular, became a landmark in cinema for its emotional complexity and moral ambiguity. Eastwood's directorial approach emphasized realism, restraint, and character-driven narrative, refusing to romanticize violence or heroism. Instead, he presented humanity in its rawest form, people struggling with regret, guilt, and the consequences of their actions. Through these films, Eastwood demonstrated not only his artistic skill, but also his philosophical depth, showing audiences that his work was not merely entertainment, but a reflection of life's deeper questions. Late career films: Richard Jewell and Cry Macho. In his later years, Eastwood continued to explore diverse genres, often focusing on real-life stories and reflective, character-driven narratives. Richard Jewell, 2019, marked a return to fact-based drama, telling the story of a security guard wrongly accused of a bombing at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics. The film balanced suspense with a humanistic portrayal of injustice, highlighting the emotional toll of media scrutiny and legal pressure. Critics praised Eastwood's careful handling of the sensitive subject matter and the strong performances, particularly Kathy Bates. Following this, Cry Macho, 2021, returned to Eastwood's Western roots in a more contemplative and personal story. While the film received mixed reviews and underperformed at the box office, it reinforced Eastwood's commitment to quiet storytelling and emotional depth. These late career films proved that even after decades in the industry, Eastwood remained a filmmaker willing to take risks and explore the human heart. Off-screen life: the private man in public view. Off-screen, Eastwood remained remarkably private and disciplined. He was known for a modest lifestyle and a strong work ethic, rarely allowing fame to overshadow his craft. His public life included a notable stint as mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California, 1986 to 1988, where he applied his pragmatic, results-driven approach to governance. Despite his legendary status, Eastwood often avoided the celebrity spotlight, focusing instead on the stories he wanted to tell. Yet his personal life was complicated, marked by multiple relationships and a large family. Though he was respected for his professional achievements, his private choices often sparked controversy. Even so, Eastwood maintained a reputation for resilience and independence, embodying the very traits that made his on-screen characters so compelling: a complex personal life, marriage, family, and controversy. Eastwood's personal life included a long marriage to Maggie Johnson, whom he married in 1953. They had 2 children, Kyle, born 1968, and Allison, born 1972, and remained together for over 3 decades. However, their relationship ultimately ended in divorce in 1984, with Johnson reportedly receiving between $25 to $30 million. During this period, Eastwood also maintained other relationships, including a long-term partnership with Roxanne Tunis, with whom he had a daughter, Kimber, in 1964. This pattern of overlapping relationships continued throughout his life, including a relationship with flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves, which produced 2 children, Scott, born 1986, and Catherine, born 1988. Eastwood's personal life, while deeply private, reflected a complicated mixture of love, ambition, and emotional distance. His relationships often coexisted with his career's demands, revealing a man who struggled to reconcile personal loyalty with a life lived in the public eye. The Locke years: love, work, and hidden pain. Eastwood's most enduring relationship during his peak years was with actress Sondra Locke, a partnership that began in the late 1970s and lasted until 1989. Locke was both a romantic and professional partner, co-starring with Eastwood in several films, including The Outlaw Josie Wales and The Gauntlet. Their relationship was highly visible and intensely scrutinized by the media, often becoming the subject of speculation. Though they shared deep affection, the bond was complicated by Eastwood's simultaneous relationships and his intense focus on his career. The dynamics of their partnership reflected both passion and instability, an emotional conflict between intimacy and freedom. For decades, the true nature of their connection remained shrouded in silence, with Eastwood rarely speaking publicly about the impact of their years together, until, at 95, he finally broke his silence. The Devastating Truth, a Late Confession. At age 95, Eastwood publicly admitted what many had suspected, that his relationship with Sondra Locke had caused her deep pain. In a candid statement, he expressed regret and acknowledged the harm his choices caused. "I wish I could have handled things differently with Sondra," he said. "Looking back, I realize how my choices hurt her, and I take full responsibility for the pain caused." Eastwood's words were somber and reflective, revealing a side of him rarely seen in public, a man confronting the consequences of his past. He admitted that he had underestimated the emotional damage caused by his actions and expressed a desire for healing. The confession resonated far beyond celebrity gossip. It was a human story of regret, responsibility, and the difficult process of seeking closure after decades of silence. Outro: legacy, regret, and the human heart. Clint Eastwood's life is a study in contrasts: legendary success and private struggle, cinematic power and personal vulnerability. His career shaped modern film, creating iconic characters and enduring stories that continue to influence generations. Yet his late-life confession about Sondra Locke revealed that even the most powerful figures carry hidden wounds and unresolved regrets. Eastwood's admission did not erase his achievements, but it added a layer of humanity to his legacy. It showed that even a man defined by stoicism and control could still look back with remorse and seek understanding. In doing so, he reminded the world that fame does not exempt anyone from the consequences of their choices, and that the pursuit of redemption is a lifelong journey, even for those who seem invincible.